Hello, what's up? I hope you guys are doing good, man. I hope you guys are doing good. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing a timeless reading today. As per the usual, we're going to be hopping into the astrology portion. I'm going to have the astrology portion timestamped in the comment section if you don't want to see it. But we're just going to go ahead and hop right in. So I'm going to have the transits and the charts right next to me. And we have a lot going on with Pluto and Neptune today. That's kind of what I'm being drawn to. So before we even start on that, we for sure have just come out of Mercury retrograde. Venus moved into Cancer probably about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. Probably about a week ago. So sometime within the last week, Venus has moved into Cancer, and then we also have Mercury no longer in retrograde, but we do have the shadow period going for the next few weeks. So it's, I don't know, man. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, realistically speaking, the fact that we do have so much going on with Neptune and Pluto in general. Like if you're looking at the chart section, or no, excuse me, looking at the transits section, if you look at the transit planet on the right side, you can see there's a lot that's going on with Pluto just in general, and also a little bit with Neptune. And Neptune being the planet of psychic awareness, deception, very similar energy to Pluto, spiritual awareness in general. And I feel like that's kind of where our attention is being drawn to, because Pluto within itself is the planet of the unseen. It is the planet of the collective unconscious, the collective shadow. But I also feel like that's what essentially allows us to bring things to our awareness in general. Especially with Mercury coming out of retrograde, a lot of things are going to become clear. If that's in your love life, that's essentially just starting to see things play out in a very beneficial way for you karmically, right? We have Venus trining Saturn. That's a very beneficial karmic energy in terms of what I mean by karmic energy. It's like starting to see movement in areas that you may have felt pressure in before. So with Mercury kind of holding us back in a lot of different ways, Venus is allowing us now trining Saturn to start to see movement, starting to see old cycles that we were closing out during Mercury retrograde, or maybe things that we felt stuck with. Now that's kind of coming to a close, and we're allowing, or it's not even that we are allowing, but it's just the energies are starting to allow us to move through particular cycles in a way that we may have felt stuck in before. Neptune sextile Pluto. We have, let's see, the moon sextile Pluto. We have the sun sextile Neptune, and we have the sun trining Pluto. And so it's a lot of really beneficial energy, right? Sextiles are essentially these energies working together. A little bit of blending. I'm seeing a lot of blending between the outer world, your own spiritual awareness, and what's not being seen, right? And the message I was getting before hopping into this is like the unknown becoming known. Excuse me. And that's kind of what we're working through right now, especially with this really deep, watery energy with Venus being in Cancer, right? There's the tendency with that type of energy to become very defensive. I feel like it can be really easy to isolate yourself and go within your own personal shell in order to feel like, I guess, safe. But I feel like that defense mechanism can also hold you back from actually pursuing different love opportunities. And especially with this Venus trining Saturn, it's like, I feel like that's part of that karmic cycle that's ending for you. That's what's allowing you to actually come out of your shell. Like Venus in Cancer, I really feel like is asking us to come out of our shell to be able to utilize all of the psychic awareness and all of these abilities and all of these things that we've learned during Mercury retrograde, but still considering that Pluto is also in retrograde. And so that's not shying away from the depths of your emotions. That's not shying away from what's coming up for you. I keep being drawn to a romantic situation. If you are dealing with a romantic situation, that is not shying away from the things that you may be feeling in particular regarding that situation. All right, this could be something where there may be past karmic cycles that may be coming up for you that you are closing out and letting go of. And we're always talking about cycles and how we're always moving through them. They're always going to be different at different intervals of that cycle. It's kind of the way I see that, right? But I also want to take a look at Mercury, because if you look at the transits, we have a lot going on with Mercury. It did just go direct, but still in the shadow period, but we have Mercury sextile Venus, conjunct Jupiter, sextile Saturn, and squaring Pluto. And with the Mercury squaring Pluto, I feel like there's a pressure between needing to understand a lot of what has just transpired with Mercury. And I feel like that's why we have that shadow period. There's a lot that comes up for us. There's a lot of past situations that come back. Again, with the Venus trining Saturn, that to me is talking about past cycles, past karmic cycles and love. A lot of that coming to a head with Mercury now going direct and forcing us to really look at what we just went through. Really reflecting on that and making sure that we're not making those decisions from a place of fear and pain and trauma. We do have Mars squaring Jupiter, which I feel like there's that pressure that we were just kind of tapping into. That pressure of wanting to do all of these things and really trying to utilize these psychic abilities, Mars trining Neptune, right? But it's also opposing Pluto. I know we're kind of all over the place today with the transits, but there's so many so many prominent things happening right now, astrologically. And so I'm seeing a combination of like working through past issues in current relationships, wanting to utilize all of the things that you know intuitively, right? So this could be you being in a situation where you know intuitively how the dynamics are playing out, and you kind of have an idea of how things are going and how they may go in the future, but not necessarily seeing all of that happen at the moment. Like it's not that it's not happening, but it's happening at its own pace, right? And I feel like that's kind of why we also have the moon squaring Venus. It's like you so deeply wanting to experience particular things in your love and relationships, but there's just a pressure between that not fully manifesting yet and you feeling a way about that not manifesting. Again, we do have Jupiter squaring Pluto as well. And so there's this really heavy energy between where we're at in our own karmic cycle and what we know is possible. And it's needing to find a way to communicate that within yourself to allow that to further manifest in your own 3D reality, right? There's so much more I could get into, but we are already tapping quite a bit into this. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. If you don't want to see that, or if you want to go back to it, it's going to be time-stamped in the comments. Yeah, but that's it. Let's go and hop right into the reading. If you want to book a personal, watch the extendeds, or listen to my videos, everything's in the description. We're going to be starting out with the Ethereal Visions Luna Edition Tarot today. And let's see what comes out. Alright, give thanks to my guides, angels, ancestors, God, and Spirit for anything that you have for us today. Alright, so bottom of the deck we have the Nine of Swords. I do feel like there are some fears. There's a lot of mentality stuff that's being worked through. Let's see what we have before we talk about it. So we have the Ten of Cups, we have the Nine of Cups, we have the, what is this, the Knight of Swords, and we have the Sun, which I don't think we've actually pulled this before on our readings with this deck. So that's a first for us here, getting the Sun. I feel like you're gaining some much needed clarity on a situation. And I feel like Spirit's really asking you to not be afraid to communicate what it is you're feeling. I'm picking up on a situation where you may be communicating with somebody here and there. I don't necessarily know the extent or depths of this communication, but what it looks like to me is there is something. Oh, this is the Four of Swords. I thought it was the Knight of Swords. This is the Four of Swords, so maybe that's why I'm picking up on that. I thought that was the Knight. So I don't feel like there's a lot of communication going on between you and this person. That's kind of why I felt it was like sparing. I don't feel like this is something where you're in constant communication, and I feel like this lack of communication is causing this Nine of Swords, this overthinking energy. Trying to determine, well, what is happening in the situation. Four of Pentacles again at the bottom of the deck here. Like, should you hold on? Should you walk away? We have the Seven of Cups. Let's see if I can just... Yeah. Seven of Cups, sorry. Seven of Cups, you know, I feel like there's a need to get in touch with what your happiness looks like. I feel like this it feels like some sort of separation. I'm going to be completely honest. It may not be like a permanent separation. This may be something where you're maybe just not talking as much, or if you are talking, it's not about a whole lot. It's very surface level. And I feel like this is happening in order for you to really get real with yourself and gain clarity about what it is you want for your long term, right? It's kind of just focusing on your own happiness right now and making sure you're taking care of yourself and you're not putting all of your energy into one person or one relationship. And when I feel like Spirit is asking you to use this as an opportunity to further invest that energy into yourself and your life, right? Mercury is now going direct. I don't like to put too much energy into Mercury being a negative transit when it is indirect. I personally always enjoy Mercury retrogrades. I think it's a really good opportunity for us to slow down and reflect and to further evaluate our plans for the future, whether that is in love or career. Aside from the point, because we are now coming out of that energy, this is like we just talked about in the astrological portion. This is you really reflecting on how to move forward from here. What is your 10 of Cups going to look like? And are you taking the steps necessary to work towards that with the 9 of Cups? The fact that we had the 10 and then the 9 that came out after that tells me that there is some sort of disconnect between the actions you are taking and what you may be feeling. It's like there's a disconnect between the intuition and what you're seeing in your physical reality. And that's really just tapping into what we were talking about with Neptune, Pluto, and the Sun, and Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. All the planets essentially really working together to help us bring that into our reality. And I feel like there's a need to kind of restore your faith moving forward in all areas of your life. I feel like it's something where it's needing to not let your fears and your anxieties get the best of you. If you're not seeing something moving in a particular direction, usually that's for a reason, and it's either the universe protecting you in some way, shape, or form, or you getting an opportunity to manifest something better for yourself, or just something better is coming in general. Let's go and clarify this though. I want to know what is the situation in general? Why is there some kind of lack of communication here, lack of clarity? Can we get clarity on the lack of clarity? This could also be somebody who's not sure what to do. I feel like somebody may be caught up in some kind of situation. This could be a long-standing relationship that they've been in for a while. And I don't necessarily feel like this is somebody who knows what to do, because that's why I feel it's a little speechless for me personally. We have the King of Cups that just came out. We have the Well. So we have the 10 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Let's see here. We have the Well. We have the King of Cups, and we have the 9 of Wands. So I feel like this is simply because somebody here is just not in a space to even invest in any kind of way, shape, or form right now. I feel like, I don't know, man, it looks, if this isn't you that's going through some kind of betrayal, this is somebody around you or your person that has gone through this or is currently going through this. There's some kind of major cycle or major relationship that's coming to a close, or there's just a lot of conflict, and because of that, it's essentially preventing any movement in this situation for you and this person, right? That's kind of what it looks like to me. It's like, although there are deep emotions there is the mutual desire there, there's a need to let something go, essentially. There's a need to just completely walk away from a situation. This may be you needing to essentially just stay away from a particular situation. This could be something where it has already caused you a certain level of pain and stress, and there's a need to essentially just heal from that. Realistically, we had the Four of Swords that came out. And so this is essentially with us being in the shadow period of, Mercury going direct, that's utilizing, like we talked about in the astrological portion, that's utilizing everything that has happened, all of these past cycles and situations that came up during Mercury retrograde, now taking the time to reflect and heal from that. So if you're not seeing the movement, the lack of clarity, the lack of communication, that's clarity within itself. If you're getting inconsistencies from anybody or anything, that is because this person, or if this is a person, this is somebody who's just not really fully invested. For whatever reason, this could be because they're tied up in previous engagements. This could be because they have to do their own healing. This could be maybe because you guys had a fight and now this person is feeling hurt about it. It could be anything of that sort. This could also be somebody like who does want to heal things because there are deep emotions there with the Nine of Wands, King of Cups right here, right? This could be somebody who, the Ten of Swords, somebody who wants to put an end to this struggle between you two. But I'm not seeing that happening. I feel like this is just a time to reflect and to heal, to be completely honest. If you're not really fully moving forward with somebody at the moment, I feel like this is the best course of action here. Let's get some advice, even though that kind of turned into advice. Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Needing to just reflect. I just keep being drawn to reflecting before making a decision. Can we get some advice on this, please? We have the High Priestess. Alright, so bottom of the deck we have Temperance. We have the High Priestess. What is this? The Five of Wands. And we have the Fool. So, if you have a desire to give this another go, or if you want to find balance in this situation, the advice there is I feel like you're really going to have to rely on your intuition. With all of this stuff going on with Neptune today, this is very Neptunian energy to me, the High Priestess. This is spiritual lessons, spiritual growth. I feel like this is pressure. I feel like I'm being drawn to this vision of a pressure cooker, and there's all of these ingredients in the pressure cooker forming, if this is a relationship, this is all of these different experiences forming the dish, and it's still cooking, basically. And as an advice, if you're going to continue in this situation, this is essentially saying, okay, if you want to take this risk, recognize that there are going to be conflicts that you need to work through. There are going to be challenges, and it's going to take you really relying on all of these spiritual lessons you've learned over time to be able to apply that in this situation, right? I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I'm going to take this over to an extended. If you want to see the extendeds, all of that's in the description. If you want to book a personal reading or listen to my music, also in the description. I will never contact you for a reading in any way, shape, or form. Only way to book a reading is to DM me on Instagram or send me an email. But that said, I love you, and I will see you in the next reading. Goodbye.